All right, everybody, welcome to We Play Games. Here we are on Vicky 3 Academy, and we're discussing how to build profitable buildings. So, we discussed in how to improve your SOL that there comes a point in your industrialization where you want to be building profitable buildings. I think that that's typically the thing that you do after you've gotten your cost of construction goods down. As soon as your construction goods are at a reasonable cost, then you want to be building profitable buildings. And those you can determine by looking in here in your buildings tab. So the profitable buildings are going to be the ones that have this highest productivity, and those are the types of buildings or the specific locations of buildings, because some of them are going to have throughput bonuses based off of their economy of scale. That's how you want to be determining where you're getting money from, right? There will come a point where you need to take into account the cost of goods, but the easiest way to increase standard of living when your economy is still largely peasants is to bring in peasants and just put them to work. And the easiest way to maximize the value out of that is put them into work making tons of money. And so yes, I could come in here and I could say, yes, the price of clothes is at plus 13% and the price of chairs is at plus 10%, and therefore I should go ahead and build one of those in order to decrease the cost to my pops. But that's not true because of the way these purchasing goods work. First of all, this is a construction good. You should always do your best to keep your construction good prices down, but at least as important is that not every good was created equal. Tooling workshops create tools. Tools go into basically everything when you are industrialized. So skimp on your tooling workshop and die. Like this is one of the most important lessons that I want to communicate to you as sort of like a concept here, is that tools are they're the new black, right? They're the tools are the new orange is the new black. And so you neglect this and die, especially when it's at a high productivity, because if it's at a high productivity, then chances are very good that either there's a problem in regards to not having enough tools, or you've got a fully industrialized and tool-based society, which is a great place to be at, because it means that you can very easily add jobs that are productive. So yes, you can scout them out this way. But what if you're like, I want to expand into somewhere that I don't currently have. So you can do it this way. Predicted earnings per employee is now a useful UI tool, and definitely can be consulted. Revenue, this is still a little nonsense, but whatever. Like the other thing that I want to tell you is that ultimately, as long as it's the right building type, you can build them in a lot of different locations. Don't get too hung up on the exact location that you need to be building in. Just make sure that there are going to be pops there, there's going to be infrastructure, and there's going to be market access. And as long as you've got those things and you're building relatively tall, then you're fine. And relatively tall will end up spreading, of course, over the entire world, right? As your land and territory spread. But like, don't be shy, right? You can go ahead and build up Midlands, that's fine, or Lancashire, that's fine. Taking advantage of economies of scale is a very, very good and a very effective way to build big and powerful buildings, and that construction lens tells you that. You can also construct things this way by building stuff and just like mousing around on here, and you see how it says predicted earnings per week 0.73, 0.74, 0.74, 0.74. That's like kind of useful information in terms of the revenue, but it's not comparative, right? It doesn't tell you, all right, if you were to build one of these things, which would be the best way to make money. Okay, so yeah, here we go. I found the other useful way to determine predicted earnings, which is here. So if you know that you want to build in a specific state because you identified, oh hey, there's a lot of unemployed there, and there's lots of infrastructure or whatever, then you just go in here and you're like, all right, we can find the predicted earnings per week right here on this tooltip and use that to help guide our hand, right? If we just know that we're going to build a new industry and it doesn't matter what, then we can help this BR guide. It'll tell you basically the same information that we saw over there, but it'll tell you if there's something you're missing because you like don't have something constructed yet. But like unfortunately, it's not going to tell you a lot about how it scales up. So it's not like perfect when trying to predict the implications of building a new industry or a new farm or whatever in a local area, but it is going to be helpful. So I hope that this video was helpful for you guys to determine how to build productive and profitable buildings, because I think that's like going to be a really critical thing for everyone. If you're getting caught on trying to reduce costs for your pops, you are almost always going to suffer it trying to control that imbalance. Like don't lean into that. Lean into getting the money, and the market will kind of guide you for a little while, right? It's only once you have an advanced and complicated consumer industry and base, then you need to start worrying about how to reduce costs by managing things like that. And so that's probably going to be another video at some point. And I think going to be one of those things that it's going to be worth discussing, like the implications of having control over a country like the East India Company, right? Because that, in case I didn't make that clear, the fact that this guy produces an infinite amount of dye for you as Great Britain is very helpful for your standard of living, because it's going to significantly reduce the input costs for textile mills, which in turn is going to mean that they are higher productivity and therefore can pay out more to everybody. Not to mention the fact that it means that we can without fear use dye workshops. Some countries that's not true. Some countries need to worry about whether or not they have access to dyes, and so that's just that there are a lot of cascading implications to your economy based off of how you grow, and I just wanted to make that clear that you do need to keep in mind where you are in your development cycle, and there is a point in your development cycle when all you really care about is cash. All right, take care.